This video contains spoilers from the world and story of Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. Please beware. Now, the story of the Precursors in the world of Subnautica is one of the main driving forces behind that whole universe, and behind why things ended up the way they were. Without them, there would be no quarantine enforcement platform, thus the Aurora would never get shot down, and thus we would never get the story of the first game. But despite how ingrained they are in the world and how very important they are to everything that happens, there are some things about them that just don't exactly add up to me. There are things about this super advanced race that just don't exactly make sense given everything we know about them, and today I want to discuss at least a few of them. I'll be telling you what exactly doesn't make all that sense to me, I'll explain to you why it doesn't make sense, and then at the end I'll leave you some space for you guys to decide whether you agree with me or whether there are arguments to counter what I'm saying after all. But without any further ado, grab all your exploration gear, get ready to look at some Precursor stuff, and let's go. Now, starting us off at the very core of the story of the Precursors is of course the deadly bacterium, the thing that gets them to come to 4546b in the first place, and the thing that essentially wipes their presence out of existence. Well, partially. The thing is, the whole reason why they came to 4546b was to look for a cure of this bacterium, because it had supposedly been decimating many of their worlds and killing millions and billions of individuals in the process, even though we don't know if all of those were precursors. Nevertheless, it is clearly said that this bacterium had profound effect on them as well, and it was also deadly to their race. And my question here is, how? We know that the super advanced precursors are very good at manipulating the biological and the mechanical, being able to make constructs such as the warper. And in the second game, with Alan even specifically saying that they shed their original bodies because they were simply imperfect. So my question here is, why is it that they weren't able to just construct bodies for themselves that would be able to withstand Kara? If it's a bacterium, then having a purely mechanical body should be sufficient enough to stop it from spreading to you at all. On top of that, even if somebody got infected, we know from the game it takes, well, give or take around 2 weeks for an individual to be completely killed by this. And based on Below Zero, we learned that the process of creating an architect body is actually super fast once you have all the ingredients. So I'm really not sure why literally any of them ended up dying or perishing from this bacterium. And yes, okay, technically they did record their minds into datasets, so I suppose really they're not all gone, but I just don't understand why there isn't a greater presence of them, given how easily they could have avoided this threat. And on that same note, there is another thing. Why is the precursor presence on 4546b so small? Besides from Alan, we don't really know about any other precursors being alive or even recorded or stored on the planet, and yet it would make perfect sense for them to be interested in this planet. Why did they just give up on it? You're telling me that after spending God knows how many years scouring the entire universe for a cure to Kara, they find one planet where they realize like, oh wow, this one creature might actually lead to us being cured, that being the Sea Emperor. They even go through the lengths of capturing the creature in its own separate facility. And yes, of course, they are unable to get the enzymes from it, but you're telling me that just because of the outbreak of Kara after they took the Sea Dragon egg, they all just gave up on the plan? They're like, you know, this one planet that has shown promise. Oh, no, never mind, Kara outbreak? Okay, well, I guess no more planet for us. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. This seems like an endeavor that would definitely be worth pursuing on their part, especially given the fact that we've never heard about them finding any other form of success on any other planet. So I don't understand why they would just give up on this. Why aren't there hundreds of other precursors arriving to this planet to study this cure? And with all that said, the last thing that doesn't add up is just how exactly did the precursors not figure out how to harness enzyme 42? You're telling me we have this super advanced race that, okay, maybe it's not actually as advanced as we make them out to be, because seemingly a lot of their technology had already been replicated by humans in this universe, but nevertheless, we have this advanced race of aliens who have been spending years looking for a cure for this bacterium. And despite all their efforts and all their technologies, they haven't been able to find a cure even though it was sitting right there in front of them. They literally had an incomplete form of the enzyme floating around in the water, and sure, I understand that Riley, not being a chemist with a full laboratory available, would not be able to recreate the full enzyme from the water. But you're telling me these super advanced aliens couldn't do it? I don't know. Maybe that's the way it is, and I'm not going to look too much into this last one, but hey, it still does not make a lot of sense to me. But anyways, that is it for this video. It was a bit more theory based, so I hope you guys didn't mind that. But hey, if you enjoyed, maybe consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. All of those would be very much appreciated. And if there are any arguments for or against these theories that I missed, please make sure to let me know in the comments as well. I would be very interested to read them and maybe start a discussion. Now with that, I want to wish you a beautiful rest of the day, and I'll see you in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.